The oldest of three girls, and my dad's an alcoholic, pretty functional, but my mom is pretty high up there on mental health. Not, I don't know. So I grew up taking care of my sisters, and then as soon as I got to middle school, I kind of just started to separate and started hanging out with other kids that thought more like me, because I was angry, and I wanted to cause trouble. But I didn't want to do it inside my family. I wanted to, go somewhere else, be away from them and not get in trouble for it. Because I didn't want my mom to freaking beat me, or I don't know, or sick my dad on me. I always, for my dad, I always wanted him to be proud of me, but it's also because we didn't get a lot of time with him. He was too busy being, working and then drinking in his off time. So in middle school, I kind of started drinking and smoking cigarettes and stuff. And in high school, it was on. I started smoking weed. I'm sorry, drugs are a part of my story, but I'll try to keep it like down to a minimum. Alcohol was there the whole time. And in high school, I would go to parties and I would stay up all night, and I'd be promiscuous, and I was always seeking out the alcohol, and had always had a high tolerance. And I made sure to never be the one that passed out first, because I didn't want things drawn on my face, or I didn't want to be raped or any of that. I mean, not saying that any of that stuff didn't happen, but at least I was awake. So yeah, a lot of putting myself in that situation, in those situations, there was a lot of things that really got out of hand, even in high school. And my parents would try to rein me in, and I'd do good for a little bit, and then I'd kind of off and running again. And I turned 18 the beginning of my senior year, and I moved into hard drugs. I have ADHD, so that really, I was self-medicating. It was off to the races. I was, hiding from everybody. And my dad's a fireman, so the cops would go to my family and tell them that they were about ready to bust me. And then my mom would come, scoop me up and take me home. And so I kept going back and forth, but I always had mom's house to move back to. And then when I was 18 or 19, my sister was moving to Portland, and I was like, well, you're only like, she was 16 or 17. And I'm like, you can't go to Portland by yourself because you're a virgin, that was my reasoning. It's because she was I figured she was, that she couldn't take care of herself in Portland. That was a really scary thought. So I went to Portland, and, I mostly just drank and smoked weed there and went to parties and stuff, and mostly did an okay job of kind of staying out of trouble. It wasn't until a few years later, after I'd had a kid and separated from her father, and lost custody because I was moving around and missed court, and he was abusive, and he ended up with her, and I didn't really have any say in the matter, basically, because I had missed court. I had lost the paper, and so I took off, drinking, and just wanted to die. Moved to Florida because I was getting further into like the bowels of Portland, even though we didn't live there. It was I was starting to get into like the sex trade or something like that. So it was like I took off to Florida because this man was gonna save me. And I ended up being a stripper in Florida and going to Daytona Beach Bike Week and blacking out several times in a couple of weeks, and then moved back home, and got pregnant with my son like as soon as I moved back home. After having him, it was on. It's because my mom would babysit, and I would be gone for the whole weekend drinking, and I was a bartender, and and then I got mixed up with another guy, and then it went on to drugs, and then another guy, and it was, just got deeper and deeper. And my son was around 2 years old and kept running off. And so I got mixed up with DHS, and they were going to take my kid away. So I went to treatment the first time, and 20 days in, my boyfriend was shot in the back, and they burned our house down. He was slinging drugs for cartel, and I don't know what was going on. That I don't know. I don't know the story, and I don't know if I'll ever get closure on that one. After treatment, I left and went back to treatment, and then made it I don't know, like 6 or 8 months, because I was in sober living. I was going to the other fellowship, working the steps, and then I went back out, and didn't make it very long before I was back in treatment. After that was a 6-month treatment, and I think I lasted 2 weeks before I moved in with someone, and somebody put drugs in my hand again. And so it took me several years, even from then. I would switch back and forth where I was, drinking was my maintenance, but it was always way over the top. It was always ridiculous. And it looks, I mean, I remember when I was in treatment, there was a girl in there for alcohol, and I was like, why are you even here? Like that's nothing compared. But, now that I've transferred from one to another, and I had done it before, but I didn't think that that was a problem. Like, that's, everybody drinks. What are you talking about? But my kid was gone with his dad, and I would always relive that CPS, the 2 times through it that I didn't have any more chances, and he was going to be coming back home. And I was drinking a lot, and on Tinder and doing all kinds of stupid shit again. And I guess one of those nights that I was drunk, I reached out and texted my boss or my supervisor and said, I think I need to get in a program, because I was working construction and everybody else was in something for DUI, or they're on probation for this or that. And so I was like, I need to get in a program. And it turned out that the boss had just gotten 3 years in AA. And he told me, go to a meeting, get a sponsor today, and then call me after the meeting. And so because I was scared to death that I was, single mom. If I don't have a job, I don't have a house, I don't have a car, I don't have a kid. I mean, it's like, shit rolls downhill. And I was scared to death. I didn't have any more chances. And I could see the road I was going down, and I'd been trying to kill myself with alcohol. I seriously was getting there again. And I was like, I finally came to the realization that I'm going to kill myself if I keep this up. So and then reaching out to my boss, I didn't have a chance. I couldn't back out of that. It's like, you got your job. If you want your job, you're going to have to go. And I felt hope that time. I got a sponsor, and I called my boss, and he told me his story, and I kept going because I felt hope. And since I've been in the program before, I knew that they were going to talk about God. And I've had a lot of religious people around me try to cram things down my throat or make me believe what they believed. And I'm very codependent, and I've definitely worked on that. But it's my own conception of a higher power. I believe in something. I believe everything happens for a reason. I believe I was kept alive for a reason, because I was in that house for 3 years before that happened. And I'd only been gone 20 days. It's just, I don't know. I kept going, and I knew about 90 and 90, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do 90 and 90, and I do feel better, and I'm going to suspend my disbelief, and I'm going to keep going, hope that these promises, that things are going to start pulling together, that it's going to start looking better. And it did. It almost immediately, because my brake booster was out of my car. So I had walked across town in 100-degree heat or 90 something to get to this meeting. And, then the part came, and we got it in the next day. I kept going to meetings, and my kid came back, and I didn't want to tell anybody, but I did tell my mom. I go, hey mom, I kind of don't want to jinx this, but I've been going to AA the last few days, and I'm going to keep going. She's like, okay, you know, there's been a lot of times where I said I was going to quit, but this time I wanted to do what I was told. And I had been beaten so many times that I really wanted it. And, you know, everything that I've done hasn't worked. I, I tried to, I mean, I almost went back out on step 4. And then at about 18 months, it was about the same thing. I'd been through my steps, and it was, you know, the boom beginning of Corona, and my sponsor was trying to run my life. And I finally I couldn't have that around me anymore. And I was like, I thought it was me. I was turning on myself. Like, there's something I'm doing wrong. And I'm like, well, if you don't want to focus on all the negatives, and your sponsor, that's what she brings to the table, then go find somebody that you can connect with now. And that was hard because I'd always gone back out. That was how I broke up with sponsors, and I would just go back out, you know. And I was like, and I think I need to set a new set of goals, because I could pay my bills then. I'd never been able to do that. I had a running car. I paid my insurance. I got my license back that I hadn't had for 10 years because of a DUI, which is, you know, it seemed like rocket science. So, you know, it's just grace. And, you know, all I can do is just keep coming back. And, you know, the newcomers are the ones that keep me here, because I can't keep me sober, but the group can. And, you know, talking to my sponsor and being of service and working my steps. You know, I'm on 10 and 11 right now, and there's a new beauty every day when I actually do my 10 and 11, like when I do my nightly inventory, and when I meditate in the morning, because I was doing it without the meditation and was wondering what was missing. And it's like, well, it's prayer and meditation. When you conclude your meditation, well, I was just reading it. So there is an amazing beauty. You know, today I get to go to school to be a drug and alcohol counselor and keep helping people. I'm floored. And it's so easy to be just super negative and, you know, be like, I haven't done this, and I got this, and I'm a single mom, and I work and go to school, and, you know, things are gonna be overwhelming. But, you know, it's just self-care, meetings, service work, talking to my I mean, like, it's a lot, but all I can do is just the next right thing. Like, that's all I can do. And I love this group. And, you know, there's not, you know, I start seeing my family, the people that are on here all the time, the people that I really connect with. And, you know, it's amazing to be able to connect with people over Zoom, you know, that I've never met in person, that I've only, you know, text with or talked with on a video chat, or, you know, whatever it is. You know, I can actually connect with you guys. So I do have a home group in person that is on Thursdays, but I wanted to do this, and I love Louisa, and she's a super big inspiration to me too. So thank you guys for having me and letting me be of service.